Well, good morning, everyone. As the county executive cracks jokes next to me, he's got a lot of humor. But so I just wanted to greet you all. I was asked to greet you all and just to acknowledge that we're gathered here to stand in unity for our children, because that's really what it's all about. And so regardless of how we may have felt about this process, what's done is done. It's now time for us to work together and to follow, to found, and to forge best practices. So to ensure, we need to also ensure that our employees are cared for and taken care of while we do the same for our children. We need to build our confidence, our economy, and our county, and I believe that this is what will happen here as we go forward. So I just want you to know that the County Council is committed to this process, to do what is right, to do what is required, and to do what is responsible, so that Prince George's County as a whole, the children of the Prince George's County Public School System, the employees, have the necessary tools and are happy, healthy, and eventually wealthy. So with that, I just say good morning.
I said as we initially assembled, that the one common ground that we definitely have are the children of Prince George's County. So I want to make sure that when we move forward, that we remember that. I just want to keep saying that as we walk forward. But one person who's clearly committed to the children of Prince George's County is the chair of our Board of Education, and I'd like to invite up to the mic our chair of the Board of Education, Ms. Regina Jacobs.
Good morning. Good morning. This is an exciting time for the board because we're in graduation season. And when we're in graduation season, we get to tell you all the great things about students. So we started graduations yesterday. Largo was the first school in the morning, and 235 students graduated. 230 of those 235 are going to college. And the reports for this morning, Central High School is graduating and Oxon Hill High School is graduating.
Gwynn Park yesterday afternoon.
What? Yeah. I didn't get the numbers for Gwynn Park.
But that's okay. It's my alumni.
Yay! Dr. Crowley did tell me that. But let me tell you about some of the dollars. So $2.9 million in scholarships for Central High School today. And $4.6 million in scholarships for Oxon Hill High School today. So just to be very clear, at the end of the day, if adults fail, kids fail. And so it is our responsibility, it is our obligation to make sure that their faces are the ones that we see as we make decisions. And so over the last couple of weeks, we have been communicating with County Executive's office and staff. We have reconfigured the boardroom. We have made space for 4 new people. We have put in new mics. It's happening. We are doing what we need to do to make the shifts that we need to make come June 1. That being said, we understand on the news today, it was reported that Dr. Crowley has been asked to stay. And so we know that one of the most critical times of the year is a smooth closing, but more importantly, a smooth opening of schools. And so we are committed to making sure that we have that happens. And to that end, I would just say that while the Board of Education has remained committed to this work, we know that their changes are coming, and we'll make sure that what we're focused on is what we have been focused on for the last 7 years, and that is what's best for kids. And so you have our commitment that that's what we will be doing. Thank you.
as the board chair just said, there's been a lot of work taking place over the last month or so. So we're going to ask Christian Rhodes to come up and give us a little update of some of the things that have been going on over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Christian?
Thank you, Barry, and good morning. I'm going to try to do as quick as a job as possible, tell you as much has been going on, but I can tell you this. Since April 9th, I think most of us in the executive staff, the board, and others have not slept. Thank you, Mr. Baker, for that opportunity. But I want to just do a quick review of some of the things that's going on. For example, the board chair just mentioned the county executive and his staff have been meeting with the board on a regular basis, communicating regularly about how do we transition. The county executive met with the entire board. He's met with the board chair and the vice chair. He's met with a number of people. The county executive staff have been back and forth over in Sasser and back and forth to try to make sure that this collaboration is smooth. The county executive has met with a number of stakeholders, a good number of people in the room, our union partners, our education partners, NAACP and others, the commission. He's met with any and everybody. I think yesterday he met with a group of 150 principals. He's reached out to teachers, to bus drivers, to our custodial workers, everyone he can to make sure. I think his words were, anywhere, everywhere you want me, I will be there. In the cafeteria workers, they have lunch, and he's definitely a fan of school lunches. I've seen that on the school visits. In addition to that, there are a couple major things that have occurred. As most of you all know, the county executive was very committed to making sure that the application process for Board of Education was public. He didn't want to just pick the individuals himself. He wanted it to be a public process. So we initiated an application process. We received well over the numbers we thought we were going to get. We got about 160 applications for Board of Education for the 3 seats the county executive has and for the 1 seat the county council has. I want to thank the council for them agreeing to enter a process with us, so we had 1 application that went through. I can tell you very clearly, as a person who's gone through a good number of that application along with Courtney Glass and others in our staff, that we have extremely dedicated individuals who want to serve on our Board of Education. That's not a surprise for Prince George's County because that is the norm. The opportunity, though, is a little bit different than what it's been in the past because we do have an opportunity to create a hybrid board. I want to recognize a couple people in the room that who have stepped up, again, through this public process. The executive wanted to make sure that stakeholders were involved. I want to recognize Mr. Jim Estep. Jim Estep is serving as the chair of an internal review committee for the applications. So thank you, Mr. Estep, for serving as chair for that. On that committee, on that internal review committee, we have representation of labor, representation of community, representation of the Board of Education. I thank Ms. Vice Chair Boston for participating in that. This is, again, to show a process of collaboration. I also want to recognize, as most of you all know, the legislation required that the governor and the state superintendent put together a 3-person committee that would ultimately be the selection committee. There'll be a selection committee that will send 3 names to the county executive. I want to recognize Dr. Charlene Dukes, who will be the chair of that committee. I think I don't speak out of turn that if we couldn't pick the better person, the governor couldn't, state superintendent couldn't pick the better person to be the chair of this committee, someone who's been through the process, a board member, an outstanding community college president, and also the president of the State Board of Education. So we're in really good hands. Also, Mr. Kendall Johnson as well. And Mr. Orland Johnson as well. My key card said, "You are not related." That's what it says. But I want to recognize the 3 selection committee members. The county executive met with Dr. Dukes already yesterday, and we had a very lively discussion about how we move forward. Dr. Dukes has committed to having integrity to this process, making sure there's public input on the front end and throughout the process, and ultimately making sure that the people who will be recommended to the county executive are the absolute best possible. So with that, I also want to do one last piece. I think we have members of the County Executive's Commission for Education Excellence. We have the chair, Dr. Segun Eubanks, here as well. We also have Amy Olivo, Bridget Blue, Ms. Desiree Griffin Moore, and a few others. I also want to recognize the members, Dr. Donna Wiseman, I'm sorry, and our Board of Education, yes, to the Commission. And also for our Board of Education members, I see the chair, the vice chair. I also see Ms. Amber Waller. I want to thank you for coming out. I see Ms. Peggy Higgins and Donna Hathaway back as well. So I want to thank you for that. I'm sorry. I was looking at you the whole time I was talking. Ms. Carletta Fellows, District 7. I apologize. With that, I'm going to give it back to Barry, and thank you very much.
All right, we're at that time of the program where we bring up the county executive. I just want to say before he comes forward that he has been on the road a lot lately. Just getting back from a tour in Las Vegas. And before that, about 3 or 4 weeks before that, over in Okinawa, Japan. So he's been working hard for the money. This is an 80s song, Dan. So without further ado, I'd like to invite up our county executive, Mr. Rushern L. Baker.
You know, this could actually be a first. We could actually end the program on time. That would be a first in the Baker administration, mostly because of the county executive. Let me do this. Why don't you give yourselves a round of applause? And I say that because I think at the very beginning of this process, I dare say I don't think anybody would believe that we'd be able to sit down after everything we went through in this legislation. As I've done many times when I've talked about the legislation, I told them I apologize in advance for dropping this bomb on you in the middle of session. I apologize for making your life inconvenient. But I don't apologize for doing it because I did what I thought was in the best interest of Prince George's County and the children of Prince George's County. And as I look out at you this morning, I dare say I believe I was right. Whether you're for what we did or you're against it, we're all tied to it now. There is no part of our government, our elected officials, that it does not play a critical role in education. It was the General Assembly that passed the legislation that gave us where we are today. So the Senate and the House, you're involved, you're tied to it. If it doesn't work, it's your fault. The council must come up with a member of the board. It's no longer just passing the budget. You're involved, you're appointing somebody, it's your fault if it doesn't work. The school board, you've done a great job. We're sending you more people. For far too long, it's always been your responsibility, your accountability. Well, now you got others, but it's still, you're involved, you're the school board. If it doesn't work, it's your fault. Now the county executive. For far too long, county executives have been able to say, I have fully funded the budget. I've done everything that's required. I'm pro-education. I don't have to determine whether it works, whether it doesn't work, how fast it works, whatever. Accountability. We always had the budget, but we never had accountability. If we don't move as quickly as we're able to in improving education in Prince George's County, it is clearly, make no mistake, it is clearly my fault. I asked for it. I asked to involve each and every one of you, whether you wanted to or not, because that's how I am. That's why I was always the kid in the back. But if we don't improve the way we should, we know where the buck stops. I can't say I had no choice or no involvement in picking the superintendent because I do. The state can't say it is not involved because they're going to send me 3 names, so they are. We are all collectively engaged in this struggle, which means that we're going to use every part of our government. Every part. Whether you're in the Department of Housing and Community Development, whether you're in Health Department, Family Services, Social Services, everybody in this government has a role in education and improving it. So that means for the school board, now you got a lot of partners. That means for the superintendent coming in, it is not just one house that you have. You have the whole government. It also means we're all going to be looking at each other. For us that run for office, I just put your political careers on the line. as well as mine. And that's how it should be. This is one county. This is a great county. We have a good school system, and we can have a great school system. And we're going to do everything that we can to push it forward. So the legislation is passed. June 1st is coming. It is time for us to do what we do best in Prince George's County, and that is to come together, bring the best minds we can, and push this school system forward and push this county forward. And I'll end with this. They talked about we just came back from Las Vegas. And we did. It was a good, really good hit for us in Prince George's County. A lot of interest. Our crime numbers are down. We're making investments in healthcare. We've just gotten money from the Transportation Trust Fund. Thank you, General Assembly. And we're making progress in education. The faster we make progress in education, the more you'll see cranes going up in Prince George's County. The more you'll see people moving into Prince George's County, the easier it will be for us to develop around our metro systems. It is the one leg that is missing. And today we change it. Today we move forward. But we can't without each and every one of you. So thank you. I look forward to putting our shoulders together and pushing Prince George's County forward to the best education system possible. Thank you very much.